The Los Angeles Clippers are going to be one of the oldest rosters coming up this season, and they remind me of one specific team, and it's the Dallas Mavericks. Why do they remind me of the Mavericks? Well, number one, it's a veteran led team. And if you go back to the roster in 2011, the youngest guys on that team was Alexis Ajinka, Rodrigue Bubos. I'm probably not saying that right. Outside of that, the core players that they had was Jason Kidd, 37 years old, Sean Marion, 32 years old, Dirk Nowitzki, 32, Deshaun Stevenson, 29, Stojakovic, 33, Jason Terry, 33. What I'm trying to get at is I understand the Clippers are old, but they can make a run to the championship next year. Of course, a lot of things have to go their way because of health with Kawhi Leonard managing that knee, but they got the depth. They've got experienced guys on this roster like a Brook Lopez, who has won an NBA championship, and Kawhi Leonard, who has won multiple championships. Chris Paul has been to an NBA Finals. James Harden has been to an NBA Finals. There's a lot of veterans on this roster, and they intrigue me. Derek Jones, I forget about him. He's been to the NBA Finals with the Mavericks. There's a lot of experience here. And yes, you could look at the roster and go, well, I don't know how it's going to fit. Can James Harden show up in the playoffs? And those are fair concerns. I get it. But man, if this team comes into next season with something to prove, I know they're not going to be the favorites, but there's going to be some hungry guys on here that want to win a championship, like Chris Paul. He's going to want to go out on a bang. James Harden, all the playoff failures. He has a good run, and the Clippers win the championship. My goodness, the nerve around him will change fast. Bradley Beal, we saw the disaster in Phoenix. He bounces back. All of a sudden, things change about him. Kawhi Leonard, the last 4 years, been injury after injury. And if he could be healthy for the playoffs, a third championship for his legacy, it would be really fun to watch. So the roster has potential. Yes, I understand this team is old, but I'm not going to just count them out. Now, Kendrick Perkins did say that, the Clippers look old, and he says there's no excuses. I understand that. I really do. Like, they have no excuses. It's a veteran led team. They should be in the conversations to win the championship. Even if Kawhi Leonard's missing games and Bradley Beal is missing games, they got enough on this roster. So I'm not going to just act like, oh, injuries are why they didn't go far. No, they got depth. And here's the thing about Chris Paul. He doesn't have to do a lot on this roster. There could be times where he can load manage, rest and prepare for the playoffs. I'm not going to freak out if they struggle early in the season or they go through a slump. I'm very curious to see how this team is clicking the last 25 games. If they're humming and they're playing well together, then this Clippers team is going to be scary to watch in the playoffs. I know you might laugh at me, you might think I'm crazy, but they do give me Dallas Mavericks vibes where that team, they had guys on that roster like Jason Kidd had been to multiple NBA finals. Sean Marion was another vet. Dirk Nowitzki didn't win a championship yet. They were desperate to get one. And we might see the same version of that or similar with the Clippers, where guys who are desperate to win a championship want to get over the hump. And I'm just excited because the West is going to be a lot of fun this year. We know about the Spurs with Victor Wembanyama. Are they going to take a leap this year? We know about the heavy hitters out west, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, and the Thunder. Those are my tier one contenders. And with the Lakers getting the mix, they added DeAndre Ayton, they added Marcus Smart. There's a lot of fun things going on in the Western Conference right now. So I'm just curious to see how this all plays out. Perkins insists that Beal has to flourish offensively the Clippers setup. This is on Bradley Beal, how he is going to be utilized. Bradley Beal has to come and do his part. This team is going to put him in position to be successful. I agree. There is no excuse for Bradley Beal. He should thrive with James Harden. He should be able to play off of him and be able to get buckets and should be motivated, because if he doesn't do well, then it's going to be very hard for him to sign elsewhere because his value will go down. They're going to be like, you play with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, you play with Kawhi Leonard and Chris Paul, James Harden, and you couldn't work with any of these rosters. Other teams are going to have a hard time trusting him, and his value is going to go down. So Bradley Beal cannot afford to have I want to say a bad season, but he's got to be healthy. He's got to come out focused, ready to go, because if he's hurt again and his effort doesn't look right, then that's not going to help him. signing somewhere else or just staying around for the Clippers because they don't have anything to lose here. They can just let him go next season. But I think he has a player option, yeah. So he can opt out and be like, okay, go. We'll find somebody else to replace you. Just like they replaced Paul George with Norman Powell. It was a great thing the Clippers did there. It looked bad at first, letting Paul George go, but they've been fine. They've replaced him with Chris Dunn, with Derrick Jones Jr., cheaper contracts, but they added depth. That's the thing about the NBA. With the CBA, you got to have a lot of depth now. You can't just have 3 stars and some role players. It doesn't work anymore. You can have a superstar with maybe a second star or somebody who is in that role player range. You have multiples of them on your team, and you can make a run at it. But yeah, I mean, these are just my opinions about the Clippers. I want to see Kawhi go out on a high note because I love Kawhi Leonard. Not the biggest James Harden fan because some of the stuff he's done in the playoffs hasn't been great. But again, I don't mind him winning a championship. I would love to see Chris Paul get a championship. I mean, that guy as a point guard has been unbelievable in the NBA. And he's never had a season where he's been a minus for his plus minus ratings. That's unbelievable in his entire career. And he's just a great teammate. We saw how he influenced SGA. They've talked about that in the past. We're going to see this with the Spurs. I think we're going to see reports about how Stephon Castle benefited with Chris Paul being there. You'll see stuff about that come on, I believe. And Chris Paul, just as a teammate, will provide a lot of value for the Clippers. The locker room should be good. I know Brook Lopez is older, but again, he's coming off the bench. So the Clippers are intriguing to me, and I'm just excited to see them play. I just hope they can stay as healthy as possible because if this team is just decimated by injuries, it's just going to be annoying. And of course, Chris Paul. I feel like every time Chris Paul gets hurt, it happens at the wrong time. Like his hamstring gives out on him, and it happens during an important playoff series. Like, man, why did he get hurt again? Against the Rockets and Warriors, I think it was after game 4 or 5. No, yeah, after it might have been game 5. I can't remember, but when it went 7 games, Chris Paul got hurt and didn't play in game 7. And it's like, man, if he had played, you have to wonder, would they have knocked out the Kevin Durant and Curry Warriors? I don't know, but he gets hurt at the wrong times is what I'm trying to say. Curious to see what happens with the Clippers. I want to see this team thrive, and I like the additions. It's low risk, high reward type of moves. And if they can stay healthy, build enough chemistry, and really thrive and click those last 25 games of the regular season and go into the playoffs with a lot of momentum on their side, let's say they finish like top 4 in the West, they're going to be scary. Obviously, it's going to be about matchups because matchups do matter in the playoffs. If they get the right matchups, it's going to be fun to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the Clippers additions this offseason. Do they remind you of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks? Do you think that could happen with this team? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.